It's 3 in the morning, and you're losing an argument with your own brain. You tried logic, there's nothing I can do until morning, and it answered with 7 new reasons to panic. Here's what no one tells you: you can't out-argue an anxious thought. The harder you push back, the louder it gets because your brain reads the wrestling match as proof the threat is real. I'm Luna, and tonight I'm going to show you something gentler and far more effective. A 2-minute skill researchers call affect labeling. Instead of fighting the thought, you name it in plain words and its volume drops on its own. By the end of this video, you'll have a 4-step protocol you can run in the dark without turning on a light. A small library of ready-made sentences for the exact thoughts that keep you up. And one move at the very end that almost no one does. The one that works best at 3 a.m. Let's begin where the spiral begins. Before we go deeper, come sit with me for a moment. If you've ever lain awake narrating your own worst-case scenarios, this channel is built for you. So subscribe, and these calm sessions will find you on the nights you need them most. While the tea steeps, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments which thought visits you most at night. Is it the replay of something you said, the dread of tomorrow, or the quiet voice listing everything wrong with you? Naming it here, in writing, is actually the first rep of the very skill we're practicing tonight. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the comfort sentences I'll give you in the second half are sorted by exactly those 3 thought types. So you'll walk away with words ready for your specific 3 a.m., not generic advice. 1 warm cup, 1 small skill. Ready? Let's look at why fighting the thought never works. Listen to the rain for a second. Notice how it loops the same pattern over and over. That's what an anxious thought does at night, and here's the mechanism most people miss. When you argue with a worry, you have to hold it in mind to debate it. Every rebuttal, "that won't happen, I'm being silly," forces your brain to reload the threat, examine it, and keep it switched on. To your nervous system, sustained attention on a danger is a signal. This matters, stay alert. So the alarm doesn't quiet, it renews its lease. That's why the smartest, most logical people often spiral the worst. They're the best debaters, so they keep the fight going for hours. The thought isn't asking to be solved. It's asking to be acknowledged. And acknowledgement and argument are completely different moves. One says, "Let me defeat you." The other says, "I see you there." The second one is what actually turns the volume down, and there's real brain science behind why. Researchers at UCLA studied what happens in the brain when you simply put a feeling into words. They call it affect labeling, and the everyday version is name it to tame it. Here's the picture. Deep in your brain sits the amygdala, your alarm center. It's the part firing at 3 a.m. Up front sits the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles language and reflection. When you label an emotion in specific words, "this is anxiety about tomorrow," the language regions light up, and activity in that alarm center tends to drop. You're not suppressing the feeling, you're routing it through the thinking part of your brain, and that handoff alone takes some heat out of it. Think of it like this: the feeling was a wordless alarm bell. Naming it translates the bell into a sentence, and a sentence is something your rational brain can finally hold instead of just bracing against. Vague dread can't be processed. A named feeling can. That's the whole engine, and the next part makes it work. Walk into these trees with me. because this is the idea I most want you to keep. A thought you argue with grows. A thought you name shrinks. Picture a worry as a small fire. Arguing is throwing logs on it. Every counter thought is more fuel, more heat, more attention. Naming is the opposite. It's narrating the fire instead of feeding it. There it is, the fear I'll mess up the meeting. You've stepped back far enough to describe it, which means part of you is now the observer, not the one trapped inside the flames. That tiny gap between you and the thought is where calm lives. Notice the word I keep using, name, not fix. You are not solving the problem at 3 a.m. There's nothing to solve in the dark. You're simply lowering the volume enough to sleep, and trusting that morning you is far more capable than midnight you. So how do you actually do it? Let me give you the exact 4 steps, starting with the one everyone skips. Step 1. Catch the loop. You can't name a thought you haven't noticed you're having, and at 3 a.m. the spiral is sneaky, because it disguises itself as productive thinking. So here's the tell. When the same thought circles back a second or third time with no new information, that's not problem solving, that's a loop. Your body knows before your mind does, a tight chest, a clenched jaw, a held breath, that buzzing under the skin. Tonight, when you feel that, place a hand where you feel it most and say, silently, I'm looping. 2 words. That's the catch. It sounds small, but it's the hardest step because the loop feels urgent and important. It convinces you that this time the worrying will finally pay off. It won't. The moment you label the looping itself, you've already created a sliver of distance from it. You've gone from being the spiral to noticing the spiral. Hold on to that hand on chest cue, because the next step is where you give the loop its real name. Step 2. Name it in plain, specific words. Here's where people go wrong. They stay vague. I feel bad. I feel stressed. Vague labels don't work because your brain can't file a blur. The research suggests the more precise the word, the bigger the calming effect. So get specific and name the type, not the whole story. Instead of replaying the entire fight, you say, there's my 3 a.m. replay again. Instead of listing tomorrow's disasters, this is anticipation, dread about the unknown. Instead of the pile-on, that's my self-criticism loop. Notice the format, there's, this is that's. You're pointing at the thought from a step away, like naming a cloud passing overhead, not climbing into it. Give your recurring spirals nicknames if it helps. The 3 a.m. replay, the what-if machine, the inner critic. A named pattern you've met before is far less frightening than a fresh catastrophe. Once it has a name, it stops being you and becomes a thing you're observing. And now you say the one sentence that gently closes the door. Step 3. Say your comfort sentence, and the design of this sentence matters more than anything else tonight. A good comfort sentence is not toxic positivity. Everything's fine, don't worry is a lie, and your brain knows it, so it bounces right off. It's also not an argument. We already learned arguing feeds the fire. A real comfort sentence does 3 quiet things. It's true, it's kind, and it gives your nervous system permission to stand down for the night. Something like, nothing needs solving in the dark. My job right now is rest, not answers. See how it doesn't deny the worry, It just postpones it to a time you can actually do something. You tend a garden in daylight, not at midnight with a flashlight. Pick one sentence and keep it the same every night, so it becomes a worn path your brain can find half asleep. In a moment I'll hand you 25 of these, sorted by the exact thought keeping you up. But first, the step that makes them stick. Step 4. Redirect. Give your brain a quieter place to put its attention, because a mind told only stop thinking will think harder. The fastest redirect is your own breath, and there's a specific one with real science behind it, the physiological sigh. Watch me. 2 inhales through the nose, a normal breath in, then a second small sip of air on top, and then a long, slow release through the mouth. That double inhale reinflates tiny air sacs in your lungs, and the long exhale offloads carbon dioxide and signals your heart to slow. 1 to 3 of those, and your body shifts toward rest, not alert. After the sigh, anchor onto something neutral and sensory, the weight of the blanket, the temperature of the air, the hum of the room. You're not forcing sleep, you're occupying the channel the worry wants. Catch, name, comfort, redirect, that's the whole protocol, about 3 minutes. If this is landing, subscribe so the next session finds you. Now, the ready-made words. Let's start with the 3 a.m. replay, the cringe reel of something you said or did, played on loop. Naming it, there's my replay again. Then choose a sentence that fits. The version I'm replaying is distorted by exhaustion, not accurate. If this still matters in daylight, I'll tend to it then, not now. I've survived every moment I'm replaying, the danger is already over. Everyone I'm worried about has forgotten this far sooner than I have. A tired brain rehearses the past to feel in control. I can let it rest. Feel how none of those argue with whether the moment was embarrassing? They don't relitigate it. They just locate you in the present, where the event is already finished. Pick the one that loosens your chest the most and let it be yours. Then exhale, long and slow, like this, and return to the weight of the blanket. The replay will try again. That's fine. Each time, you name it faster, and it grabs you a little less. The dread of tomorrow needs different words, though. Up here under the open sky is the dread of tomorrow, the anticipation that fast-forwards through every way the next day could go wrong. Name it. This is anticipation, not information. That distinction is everything. Your brain is generating predictions and treating them like facts. Then your sentences. I can't prepare for tomorrow while lying in the dark. Rest is the preparation. I've handled hard mornings before with a fraction of tonight's worry. Worry is not a to-do list. Nothing here gets done by 3 a.m. Tomorrow me will have coffee, daylight, and options I don't have right now. Most of what I rehearse tonight will never actually happen. Breathe that last one in for a second. Notice they don't promise tomorrow will be easy. That would be a lie your brain rejects. They simply hand the problem to the version of you who's actually equipped to face it. Anticipation shrinks the moment you stop feeding it scenarios. And then there's the hardest visitor of all, the voice that turns on you. That one needs the gentlest words we have. In this fog is the hardest one, the self-criticism loop, the voice listing everything wrong with you while you're too tired to defend yourself. First, a gentle physical move. Rest a hand on the side of your face or your ear, like this. A slow, warm touch, soothing touch you give yourself can nudge your body toward its calming system. It's why we instinctively hold our own face when overwhelmed. Now name it. That's my inner critic, not the truth. It's just loud at night. Then, I would never speak to someone I love this way. I don't have to believe it either. Exhaustion impersonates honesty. This harshness is a symptom of being tired, not a verdict. I am the one noticing these thoughts, which means I am not these thoughts. I'm allowed to be a flawed person resting, not a problem to fix. Say it slowly, with that hand still resting. You're not arguing the critic into silence, you're refusing to hand it the microphone. Keep one of these somewhere, you'll see it tonight, and I'll tell you exactly where. Here's where to keep your words, right beside where you sleep. The middle of the night wake up is the worst moment to invent a comfort sentence from scratch. Your thinking brain is barely online, so before bed, when you're calm, write your one sentence on a scrap of paper and set it on the nightstand or save it as the first note on your phone. When you wake at 3 a.m., you don't compose, you just read. Reading is almost effortless. It gives the spiral something true to land on instantly. And here's a small sound to pair with it. Hum, low and soft, on your exhale, like this. That gentle buzzing vibrates through you and naturally stretches your out-breath, which is the part of the breath that calms you. A hum is just a long exhale you can feel. So, read your sentence, hum one slow breath, settle back into the pillow. You've now got a routine for the exact moment most people feel completely powerless. But I promised you one last move, the most powerful one, and almost no one does it. Here it is, the move almost no one does, and it's the simplest of all. After you name the thought, do nothing. Don't fix it, don't reassure yourself, don't even redirect yet. Just name it once. There's the worry about money, and then let it sit there, unanswered, while you take one long, slow exhale. Like this. The instinct is to immediately do something about every thought, and that doing something is the spiral. Almost everyone names the feeling and then rushes to solve it, which quietly invites the argument right back in. The skill is naming it and letting it be unfinished. A thought you argue with grows. A thought you name and then simply allow shrinks on its own, because nothing is feeding it anymore. You're proving to your nervous system, in real time, that this thought can exist without being an emergency. That's the whole secret, not silencing the mind. That's impossible, but sitting calmly beside it until it quiets like a tired child. And it gets easier every single night you practice. Let's walk this back together. You can't out-argue an anxious thought, arguing feeds it. So instead you catch the loop, name it in plain, specific words, say a comfort sentence that's true and kind, and redirect with a slow exhale. And the deepest move of all, name it, then let it be unfinished. A thought you name and allow shrinks on its own. I release a new calm session like this every week, so subscribe and the next one will quietly find you on a night you need it. And next time, I'll show you the wind down routine for the 90 minutes before bed, the small things you can do in the evening so the 3 a.m. spiral has far less to grab onto in the first place. You won't want to miss it. Tell me in the comments, which of tonight's comfort sentences are you keeping by your bed? Writing it down makes it yours. Sleep gently tonight. Name the thought. Take the long exhale and trust morning you. I'll see you in the next session. Mind in bloom.
Follow for a new calm reset every night. Mind in Bloom.